What am I? I understand that as far as appearances go, I'm a Homo sapiens sapiens. I have certain attributes common to my species. Okay, well, let's say we removed that part. And we reduced it to my mind, because my body is finite. I know that that's eventually going to die. I'm also mind, which could also be reduced to a series of physiological formulae, reactions, impulses. Is that it? That's an interesting question. I think that it's one of the questions that has sort of fascinated human beings since we became conscious of the fact that we exist. And it may actually fascinate anything and everything else. A dog, a cat, a tree could conceivably, we don't know, wonder the same thing. We don't know what consciousness is, so I don't think we have any way of knowing whether or not inanimate objects, plants, whatever, are conscious as well, because we're dealing with an unknown. I know that I'm conscious, but I don't know what consciousness is. That's kind of silly, but anyway, we still use the term consciousness with some abandon and carelessness, because we don't know what it is, but we still like to use it. Well, is there anything else in me besides that which is the result of overt physical causes? Well, that's a good question. As far as my observations have taken me, I think that there is something out there, or something in there, or just something, for several reasons. One of them is, what actually at the end of the day is receiving all these impulses from the outside world, all of these points of view, all of these interpretations, or perhaps messages from the outside world. The brain is actually a series of chemical reactions, biological functions, nerve impulses. Okay, who ultimately is receiving all of this, or what ultimately is receiving all of this? What I see with my eyes, and what I feel with my hands, and what I perceive with all of my senses is ultimately a series of impulses. It may not be an accurate view of what is actually out there. It's just my interpretation of it. The obvious example of that is the fact that I actually, according to biology, I see everything upside down, but my brain corrects that, so now I see things right side up, I guess. Which begs the question, is there a possibility of seeing things accurately outside of my own sensory apparatus? Or is it possible to see anything accurately? And is accuracy even a concept that one can actually apply to a view of the physical world? Just the very fact that I'm using my sensory apparatus to see what's out there means that I've distorted it in some way. I put all kinds of value judgments upon it. Now, what's putting those value judgments on there? What is deciding that up is up, down is down, left is left, and right is right? There's something in there, well, as far as I can see, that is putting those values on there, that is putting those attributes on things that I see. And I often wonder what it would be like to see the universe through someone else's eyes, not just their body, but all of their prejudices. I get the funny feeling that if I was actually able to creep into someone else's soul and see the world through or the universe through their eyes, it would probably be so weird that it would terrify me. Or it might be a paradise for all I know. I don't know, and then I will never know. I don't know what it means to be Charlie Chaplin or Barack Obama, what it means actually to see the universe through that person's prejudices. Secondly, or further, what if we even remove those prejudices? Is anything left? What if we take away all the experiences that someone has ever had, i.e. their memory? What if my memory is wiped completely clean? Not just my memory of the past, but my ability to remember anything. My ability to remember anything that has ever happened in the closest or the most remote of pasts. Okay, I think that is kind of a way to show that, to sort of remove experience or nurture from the picture. All the lessons I've learned, I wouldn't be able to speak anymore. I wouldn't be able to manipulate my hands. Everything. I'm back to not even just fresh out of the womb, because even in the womb you have experiences. What if all of that is gone? What's left there? I think that there is something left, and that's perception itself, consciousness itself. Now, as far as whether or not that's me in any unique sense, that's another story. That might not be an individual soul. But as far as I can tell, and this is definitely a work in progress, I haven't reached any conclusions on this, and I'm open to changing my mind. As far as I can tell, there still is something there. There still is consciousness itself. As I say, it might not have anything whatsoever to do with me as an individual, and it might be pretty much the same for every other person that has ever lived, every other conscious thing that has ever existed or will ever exist. So we can only put so much down to experience and gross physicality, because there is a constant in there, at least as far as my reasoning has taken me. That experience that I've had since I came into existence, and again, I don't really know when I came into existence, so I don't really know what non-existence might mean either. That's unclear as well. But that point of view, that inner observer, that ultimate perceiver of things, has been around for as long as I can remember. That's the only constant in my life. I was essentially a different person a year ago. I was even more different 2 years ago, 5, 10, 20, 30, 40 years ago than I am now. But this actual observer, the inner sort of perceiver of things, quite independent of the experiences themselves, but the thing that was engaged in having those experiences is still there. What is that? Or does it exist? Or in what sense does it exist? That's very, very hard to nail down. But I do believe that it does exist, and some people might call that the soul, or the Atman, or whatever you want to call it. Experience or perception itself, but I have that's as far as my speculations have taken me as to my ultimate nature. And again, I don't really see how that actually means that I'm really an individual, which doesn't particularly bother me. But it also kind of proves that, in a sense, I exist. That's something. Thank you.